Hey y'all, whether it's morning, evening, or afternoon, I'm just glad that you guys had decided to vibe with E. Yes, the one and only E. Hey y'all, what's up? What's poppin'? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you guys have been having an amazing weekend as well as the week. I hope you guys have been being safe and sound and also displaying good vibes, okay? So, without further ado, in honor of May, I want to get into the vibe of the day, okay? So, if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. And for the ones that are not new to this but true to this, hey y'all, what's up? What's poppin'? And as always, I want you guys to sit back, relax, and enjoy hearing my voice, whether you on the go. I hope you guys have them AirPods, Beats, whatever you got on full blast. If you're in your car, iPad, whatever, just have the volume on full blast. If you don't have your AirPods or headphones, then okay. Because today's vibe of the day is mental health. In honor of May being National Mental Health Awareness, I wanted to speak on it because, as you guys know, and if you're new here, my podcast is based on self empowerment, self improvement, everything self. And I'm really big on the mental health. So, this was, I feel as though, was really good to even address more because I wanted to talk about mental health, but I didn't know how soon I wanted to talk about it. And by May being, Mental Health Awareness Month, it just was like, okay, now I got to talk about it. So let's get into it. What is mental health? I have to break down what it is, how it happens, everything like that. I like to give y'all insight of what it is, what is the vibe, like what's surrounding the vibe before just going in, and giving y'all the raw and uncut content of how, people deal with it and things like that. So, what is mental health? Mental health is a person's emotional, psychological, and social well being. It includes how individuals think, feel, and behave, and how they handle stress related to others and make choices. Maintaining good mental health is essential for coping with life challenges, forming healthy relationships, and achieving overall well being. It involves balancing factors such as self-esteem, strength, and the ability to manage emotions effectively. So within mental health, a lot of people fail to realize that it's very serious. This is very serious. Like, I feel as though when it comes to your mental health, you have to be 10 toes down on it because this is impacting your well-being, period. No matter how big or small it is, it's still impacting you as an individual, from how you think, from how you feel, and how do you react on things into others. And it also impacts with the choices that we make in life. That also impacts with if it's good or bad for our mental. Such as things like relationships. Is this good? Is this good for me? Is this person good for me? Within your family too, should I be around them? Are they helping me mentally? With the job too, are they mentally helping me or are they mentally draining me? As well as with even our own businesses, like, is this mentally what I want to do, or is this just mentally draining me? And it also impacts with like how we behave. Like, do I really, this what I'm doing is like, certain people be like, this made me lash out, and sometimes, this makes me feel at peace. So I want y'all to keep that in mind when it comes to your mental. Like, what makes you feel the way you feel about yourself, others, and things that are around you. Okay, so what factors contribute to this impacting mental health disorders? So multiple factors can influence mental health disorders, including genetic traits, environmental stress, trauma, trauma experience, and biological imbalance, such as poverty, discrimination, and limited access to health care, are also social economic factors that can impact mental health. Mental health is also widely prevented because of the stigma and attention surrounding it, which is disclosure individuals from seeking treatment. So this is basically saying like what factors can contribute to mental health disorder. Now, when I was doing my research, I didn't like what I was getting and reading, because when I did look up mental health, you would see a lot of black people when it dealt with mental health, especially when it comes to like the factors of how mental health disorders is impacted, such as, like I had mentioned, it said poverty and discrimination and limit access to healthcare. That is very, very stressful, especially within the black community. And when it comes to things like that within poverty, the first thing they always think of is, for example, I'm from Baltimore. I'm from Baltimore City at that. But on the side of where I live at in the city is not so as bad, but everywhere you go, they have their ups and their downs. And then it's the other side. So you got your north, south, east, west. I'm on the northeast side. They always say like poverty is where South Baltimore, West Baltimore. And it'd be crazy because it's like at times you don't create the poverty, Sometimes you can't control where you live at, especially as a kid. It's all to your parents and what they can afford. And at times when they say like from, growing up in the city, they be like, most of these kids come from poverty neighborhoods. That's why they act the way they act. That's why they mentally messed up. I heard it all. And then on top of that, by me being a social work major, and learning about my urban community, learning about what we go through on a daily that I didn't know, furthermore within why we go through this is because of poverty. And that's one of the many things that can drive a person to have mental health, because like I said, you can't control where you live at unless you are able to, one, have the money for it. And within everything that goes on in our life, you have to have money for everything, every single thing, such as when it comes to like affording proper health care. That's another thing too. That's one of the biggest problems in the urban community is at times we don't have proper health care because at times we don't have insurance for it. And at times people cannot afford it or they cannot get it for various reasons. That drives them to go insane because it's like, you would think stuff like that would be free, but it's not. In other places and countries and stuff, hell yeah, health insurance and all that is free. But here in America, half of that shit is not free. And that can drive a person to be going crazy, have mental health issues because they can't afford it, as well as getting a job. Doing things that they dream or desire for can also drive a person to have factors that contribute them to have mental health, because money plays an impact into everything. Now, another thing that I had mentioned too was the discrimination. Discrimination happens is like almost every day, and people don't understand. Whereas as being an African American man or woman, it sucks. It's hard for us because we go through it every day, every single day. That drives us insane. And like I said, I'm from Baltimore City at that. We see a lot of discrimination, hate crime, black on black crime. It's just a lot of stuff that drives you insane. But especially when it hits home, like hits to your people, family wise, it gets insane. And it makes you mentally drained. Now, I say this, when it comes to mental health at times, to certain stuff, it's like we are, I want to say, numb to half of the stuff that at times we cannot express how we feel when it comes to our mental health. And at one point in time, I remember telling myself, I'm numb to things that's going on now. Because it's like when it happens so often, it's like, what can you say and what can you do? Until like you do your research and you do things on your own and you discover, and it's like, wow. It's like you can get out that numb point in your life, or you can stay there. But I didn't want to stay stagnant in that, because mentally, yes, I was fucked up with certain stuff that I've been seeing around, hearing and seeing within my city. But then it's like, how can you make things better so these factors don't happen again? That's a question that I feel like nobody can answer unless the actions speak for itself. You know the saying, y'all, actions speak louder than words. You got to show me. And that's how I am to this day with everything. Like, you got to show me. I'm big on the mental. So if you trying to not help me with my mental, I think you gotta go. And I want y'all to think about that too. Like when it comes to y'all mental health, what factors contribute to y'all on how to keep it steady so you won't lash out. Okay. So next is, why do individuals face obstacles to access mental health service? Well, I'm going to tell you like this. Access to mental health services is often limited by both systematic and personal barriers. Mental health providers are limited in numbers, insurance coverage is limited, and out-of-pocket costs are high. As a result of this stigma surrounding mental health illness, individuals may delay seeking help or advise disclosing their difficulties. Mental health issues can be enhanced and prevented by obstacles highlighting their needs to address access boundaries and promote mental health awareness. Now, like I mentioned, within where I'm from in the city, yes, at times it's hard to even, for black folks, it's hard to even go to doctors, go to the dentist, get the proper care and nutrients that you need, especially if it comes to seeing somebody such as a counselor, a social worker, a doctor, psychologist, whatever the case may be. It costs. And if you don't have no insurance, you got to pay out of pocket. And if you don't have, no type of income coming in or something, you're fucked. And it's so crazy because I feel as though, like, when it comes to things impacting a person's well-being, it should be free, but it's not, because the people that's providing this service, they need to get paid too, which is understandable. However, I feel as though that we need to find some type of way for people all over, mainly people of color, that needs and wants access to the things that they need, to have a way where they don't have to worry about income. Like I said again, it is hard to even come up with this stuff because people just think that people don't take it seriously. And as a person who is going to school for social work and see the lens on two sides and dig deeper on topics like this, I'm willing to do any and everything in my power, especially when it comes to helping my people within their mental health, because it's like I said, this podcast is based on everything self, and also based on mental. And your mental health is very important. You have to take it seriously because that's something that is very, very important. Now, I'll never forget when, most of the time when you are in college or high school, people always want to do projects on mental health. I'll never forget when people was like, I do not want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it, because it's like, who want to keep hearing it? However, I was like, I want to hear it because everybody has their own opinions when it comes to mental health. And everybody deals and adjusts with mental health differently than, you and I and other people around us. And I was like, I understand people, don't want to hear about it or don't want to, be a part of that crowd. But somebody got to do it. Like everything, like every job you see, like when you see people doing jobs, like working in the mall, supermarkets, the banks, teachers, nurses, doctors, engineers, HVAC, anything, we need it, and somebody has to do it, because that's resources to us, especially when it comes to people that are going to school right now, getting bachelor's degrees within involving mental health, masters in mental health, doctorates, mental health, associate's degree, whatever it is impacting health at its finest. Somebody has to do it because somebody needs that. And people think, oh, well, it don't affect me. I'm telling you now, sooner or later it's going to affect you. It's not affecting you now, but it is going to affect you in the long run, especially when it comes to individuals that face the obstacle of not having access to healthcare services. And the thing is, like I said, if you're new here, I did counseling last year when I was in my fall 23 semester, still as an undergrad. Because I'll never forget one of my professors, well, a few of my professors told me as I was entering the social work program and entered it my first semester was that in order for you to help people, you have to get help for yourself. You have to help yourself, especially when it comes to any scars or, memories or stuff in your life that you have dealt with. You have to be able to patch that part of your life so you'll be able to help others and know where they're coming from, X, Y, and Z. Because as people that are working with any type of mental, physical, healthcare environment, you have to be able to deal with what comes your way. You have to be able to deal with the ups and downs, the surprises, you have to be able to deal with it. And it hurts. Yes, it hurts, because you hear the stories, you're like, oh my gosh, why would a person do this, or why is a person going through it? But that's why they tell us all the time, in order for you to prepare yourself for this lifestyle, you have to prepare yourself for what's to come. And I'll never forget, I took a course called Domestic of Family Violence. That class was very, 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 very emotional. And it was very, very tough. Because it showed you the mental, physical, sexual, and spiritual side on how a person deals with all the things in their life, especially when it impacts on abuse. The main two that really sparked me the most was the emotional, and the mental. Also the physical, but those two, the mental and emotional, it was like, whoa. It was like, whoa. Especially by reading the stories was impacted within the urban community from ages 3 and up. Preschool, like hearing stories about preschool kids and elementary, middle school, high school, and college, they would consider us as adults. Nevertheless, it's just that they were faced with so many obstacles that half of the time they couldn't access the health care they needed, because either way, with the elementary and middle school, it's only one social worker. Some elementary or middle schools only have one social worker. One. Counselor, the social worker, maybe it's the social worker, the counselor, the mother, the father, and that's what people fail to realize. People that are within going to school within mental, for helping people in the mental aspect, we wear so many caps that people think we don't, but we do. Especially when it's dealing with the youth. My main goal is to focus on the youth, especially when it comes to their mental health, because they have to be prepared for what's to come. If they're not getting the proper, treatment at home when it comes to, how to handle your feelings, how to express yourself, that's when the school plays a big part. Because only two places that a child go: home with the parent or guardian, and then the school. And then there are other activities as well, if they play sports or play instruments or whatever too. Whatever's going on, whoever is a figure in their life, even if it's a parent or guardian, even if it's a social worker, counselor, teachers, coaches, whatever, if they have a big aspect on their life, they need to help them. Regardless, I feel as though also if you're working with children, you have to be prepared for everything to come. You have to wear many caps that you thought you were not going to handle, but I guarantee you, when you sit and have the conversations with them, you be like, wow, I didn't know I could do this. Because the mark that you're leaving on these children I guarantee you, will lead them into their adulthood. And there are moments they'll cherish for the rest of their life. And that's why I decided to be a school social worker, because I'll never forget when I was in middle school, going through what I went through. When I lost my uncle, I felt like my world was just done. I did. I felt like it was done. Then I was going through my own little challenges of, I wouldn't say self-esteem, I would say somewhat, and also low self-esteem when it comes to physical appearance that will mess with your mental health. And I'll never forget the social workers that I had there, the case, they had the social workers, the counselors, even the academic advisors. I'll never forget them. I will never forget them. And I'm so glad I still have some type of form of contact with them because they helped me. When I told them my story, how I felt and everything, what I was going through, they was just like, we're here to help you. And they helped me every step of the way. And it had impacted me to be the person that I am. If it wasn't for them and my mom, for like on a female perspective within the things that's going on within looks and stuff, I don't know where I would be. I don't know how far I would have went, especially with my mental health. Yes, at times we still go through our little ups and downs. Shoot, sometimes I still go through my ups and downs with my mental health. But I always have to remember, you gotta do things that'll help you. Like, I like to write, and then the podcast also helps me too. Either expressing your pain within the things you like or want to do will help you in the long run. I'm telling you, especially like if you cannot afford access to get, the mental health service that you need, do things with people that you know or may not know that'll help you. Such as if you have access to a counselor at your elementary, middle school, high school, trade school, whatever, talk to them. Because they're there for a reason. And when I did that in college too, because when I came to college, when I transferred to, I still was having some problems because I was like, I'm here. I'm here physically, but mentally, sometimes I feel like I'm not here. And I'll never forget the counselor that I had at my school currently now, even though I don't go to her now because of that schedule and her schedule. I'll never forget the techniques that she taught me too. If you can't see somebody, you don't have the funds or whatever the case may be, I'm not going to lie to y'all. They also have the counselors online. The only thing about it is, as a person like me, I like to see the people face to face. I want them to feel me. I want them to read my body language so they can analyze and observe what's going on. If you can't, like I said, you can't afford it, don't have the time to see somebody, long as technology is right there, you are in good hands. So, even though if people don't, as I said, a lot of people do faces the obstacles of not having access to healthcare. Baby, there are many, many ways to find it and get it. You just have to research it. And if you really want it, you're going to do it. I'm telling you. In order for you to do things in life that is impacted with your life, you have to go out there and get it. It's not going to be handed to you. You got to dig for it. You got to strive for it. You got to put it in work. You talk that talk, but can you walk that walk? Especially if it's impacting your health. And when this case is impacting your mental health, you're going to do any and everything in your power to. Especially also if you have a good support system that's willing to help you as well. And if you don't, you want to do anything and everything in your power to make sure you get what you want, especially impacting your mental health. Okay? Take it from me. So why does individuals face obstacles to access mental health? Like I mentioned, because I'm just summarizing it again. Because, you can't afford it. But like I mentioned, if you want it, go get it. Even if someone is not there for you to help you, you're going to go get it with any means necessary. So, who is most affected by the stigma surrounding mental health issues, and how does it influence their wellness to seek help, their willingness to seek help? Now, with this one, just barely saying like, who is affected by mental health the most? Like, what type of individuals, cultures, religions, whatever is affected by it the most? I summarize like why individuals can't access it, or cannot access it, but who's affected by it the most? I already mentioned that, the urban community is affected by the most, but who also is affected by it the most? Well, the stigma surrounding mental health issues is especially harmful people from disadvantaged groups such as minorities, LGBTQ plus individuals, and low income individuals. People who face stigma may be ashamed, fear discrimination, or fear to disclosure, this fear to disclosure, sympathy, or seek professional help. As a result, affecting individuals may delay seeking treatments, which can worsen their stigma and make them recover more difficult. Promoting mental health awareness and combating stigma are crucial to encourage these individuals to seek assistance. Now, like I mentioned, when it comes to within the urban community, it's also people that are minorities, like people that are not from here. They experience it way worse because one, some of them, like I said too, they're also impacted within the urban community because they do not have access to get the help that they need, especially if they're coming to America from wherever they have came from and trying to live a new life. It's hard, especially because they just moved here or wherever they did to this point in their life, and now it's like, I may not be able to get this, I may not be able to get that. It's a lot that people go through, and they want to get the same treatment that everybody else does, but at times it's hard. It is hard. And that's where the mental health plays a very crucial role, as well as within the LGBTQ plus community. Especially, like I said, as being human, when it comes to who you want in your life, your sexuality also can lead to mental health. L for lesbians. I I don't know how it is to be a part of that community, but as a person that has friends and work with people that are impacted within the LGBTQ community, and they express themselves and they say how hard it is and how people look at them, it's really sad. Because you shouldn't bully a person for being a lesbian, for being gay, for being bisexual, for being a trans. And you or queer, was it queer or queer? Excuse me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's hard enough that they are coming out to the world when it comes to their sexuality, especially when it comes for transgenders. Not too long ago, I did a project on transgender oppressions with my group for my diversity class. And while we were doing the project, it was very, very sad. And from just doing the research and reading about a lot of people that are in the transgender community, it's very, very sad how they deal with poverty, as well as poverty, not getting the right nutrients that they need, not getting the help that they need, as well as the support that they need, especially when it comes to them coming out to being trans. It's very hard, especially within the community that they have left and now has entered in. They see that at times even their own people will try to tear them down because of who they are and why they made the decision that they made. It was so, while my group and I was presenting the project to our class, and we did the pictures, like why, like how a social worker could be able to help within their mental, what can we do, why this is important, stuff like that. These are questions that in my mind when I was doing the project, I'm like, okay, cool, this is gonna be good, have people thinking. But as it came time to present and I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, these are questions that needs answers, that needs to be shown rather than telling, if it makes sense. And our professor had challenged us also to, like, the public restrooms and things like that, how would people feel? And I couldn't answer it. Like, I wasn't my group was looking at me like, you want to answer? I'm like, I talked enough. But in the back of my mind, I was like, it's hard. It's things that are very hard, and it is hard not only for us, but for them also, as well as transgender and non-binary and non-binary. I'm saying it wrong, y'all. I know I'm saying it wrong, but excuse me. I apologize so much because when I was doing the project and saying it, I'm like, wow, because it's like you wouldn't expect a person who is coming out to the world describing themselves, as lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, whatever the case may be, to have so much hate crime. And I just have understood it. Transgenders, when I did the project on transgenders, they experience it the worst within discrimination, poverty, getting an education, getting a proper job, as well as getting the proper care that they need, such as medical assistance within going to the doctors, going to the dentist, going to anything improving and impacting with their well-being, especially with their mental. A lot of the stories that I had read impacting with the project I did and also within previous courses that I took within the social work program or with not in the social work program when it came to the LGBTQ community, it's sad, it's sickening that people would do the things that they do and don't realize just because their sexuality the way it is, that doesn't make you have the right to say all this stuff to them and not think about their feelings. People are cruel, especially because people be like, oh, if you were born a man, why you didn't want to stay a man? Why you had to be a woman? Those are questions that we should not be asking in the first place. I feel as though if a person is comfortable in with what they want to be and who they are, let them have it. Me as a person that I am, I do ask questions, like when you were doing your process of telling your loved ones how to make you feel mentally. Because like I say all the time, your mental is very important. The mental is very, very important, and you have to be able to deal with things that comes with it, but you also have to be able to know how to handle it. Especially when I also, in my diversity class, we seen like a lot of videos that impact with like the LGBTQ community, especially when it came to foster care, housing, getting a good job, discrimination, poverty, education, mental health, all those things that's impacted within the community for LGBTQ is sickening. And people don't think, okay, they might identify as this, but they don't think, oh, they're still human. You're still human. People can identify as what they want to identify as, but they still have feelings at the end of the day that impacts with their mental health just like normal people. Period. No matter if you're black or white, they still have feelings. No matter if they were born a man and are now a woman. No matter if they were a woman and now a man, it doesn't matter. Or like the pronouns, if they identify as she, he, her, or not she, he, her, she, her, or he, him, they, them, it doesn't matter. They still have feelings and their mental health matters just as much as ours do. Point blank, period. When it comes to low income individuals, like I mentioned, people that are living in poverty, they have it worse too. I feel like minorities first, low income, and LGBT communities like for second place is tied, because it's like mental health is one of them things that people fail to realize is important, and that it plays a very, very, very important role in our life. That a lot of people die behind because of stress or not getting the proper nutrients to help with their mental health. And it's crazy to me that many people are not willing to help. Really, a lot of people are not really willing to sit down and understand why a person is going through things the way they are. I'm a person that likes to sit and listen to your story so I can help you in any shape or form that I can. And that's why I want to do it with children, because children are very innocent. They didn't ask to be here. They're learning as they go too. They don't know it all up until, I don't even think you probably won't know it all until you're really out on your own, putting pieces together and seeing what's going on. Even as an adult, I don't even think you know it all until you see what's going on. But for children, especially that's living in low poverty, within low poverty, a lot of people be like, oh, low income, low poverty people are people who are in the hood, in the ghetto, in the projects. They're not going to be anything, like I mentioned, within the LGBTQ community. Just because, the LGBTQ, they identify as who they are within their sexuality. When it comes to low income housing, at times, that's all they could afford. That's all they could afford. Some make it out of it, some don't. You gotta think. We're human. Things happen in our life. Sometimes you could be on top and you could lose it all within a blink of an eye. And I know mental health runs deeply down there. Because like I said, I'm from Baltimore City. I'm on the side of town that's not as bad. But I've seen other sides of town that are bad. And there's a lot of people that's living in them areas where they want to get out of it so bad, but it's hard. Because one, money is impacted with it. When it comes to looking at houses within this year, within this generation, it's ridiculous. Even looking for an apartment, 1 bedroom, studio, 2 bed, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And then a lot of people be like, oh, and everybody quick to go on Section 8. Most of the time, people that are on that, it's because that's all they can afford and they need the extra access. Now I know people be like, yeah, but half of them don't need to be on there at all. True, but who are we to judge them? That's up to them and the people that are involved with Section 8. The only thing that I feel as though that needs to be addressed is getting them the proper care that they need, especially when it comes to mental health. Especially as a person that's from Baltimore City and goes to a university, a HBCU at that is surrounded by a lot of different cultures, things like that, what people believe, don't believe. Regardless, I'm big on the mental. I don't care what you identify as, where you live from, where you from, and what you do. I want to know how you are mentally. I want to know how you are on a deeper level. And that's why I say the things that I do. You got to be nice to people. You never know what somebody's going through. Never. So the best thing to do is try to be nice as possible to people because you never know what's going on. Being nice to someone does not kill you at all. It does not. It does not define you as a kiss ass or nothing. It just defines you as a person that's very nice and kind. Okay? So when does stress translate into a diagnosis of mental health conditions, and what are the warning signs? Well, I'm going to say it like this. When stress is expanded for a period of time, it can affect a person's daily function and in health. It becomes a diagnosis. It becomes diagnosable as mental health condition. They may be early warning signs such as ongoing sadness or anxiety, changes in sleep or eating patterns, difficulties concentrating, and withdrawal from social activities. To prevent isolation of stress into a more service mental health disorder, it's important to identify these signs and seek support from mental health professionals. Well, like I mentioned, if you see or know someone that is going through mental health, check on them. Get them the help that they need. Be there for them. Because like I mentioned, mental health is very important and mental health is very serious. Mental health just doesn't impact on one thing, it impacts on multiple things. Depression, anxiety, stress, and on and more and more. And it leads people to either be able to handle it without getting medication, and some need it. And at times the medications can be good for them or worse. But I feel like a simple talk and getting the access that they need, if it's not even just one-on-one counseling, having a group session with people also that's dealing with the same problems can also help you or break you. I just feel as though being able to talk it out verbally or do things that make you happily physically can help a person get to some type of realization in their life. Help them get the proper nutrients and care that they need, especially when it comes to their mental health. And if you see or know anybody that's going through these things and are dealing with things or see the signs that's not so right with them, talk to them. Reach out and let them know that you're here. Especially if you're a family or a friend to them. Let them know that you're here and you're willing to do any and everything with them, because they're not alone. You're there with them whatever. Lastly, where can individuals find relatable resources and support networks for managing mental health challenges in remote or unserviced areas? Remember, like I mentioned, if a person cannot access going to a therapist, counselor, social work, whatever in person, there are ways that are on the internet to help you, such as resources and support networks for mental health can be accessed by individuals living in remote or underserviced areas in many ways, such as licensed professionals are able to do online therapy sessions and counseling sessions through telehealth services. Also, peer support and value information about coping strategies and resources can also be found in online support groups and forums. There may also be free or low-cost mental health programs offered by local community centers, churches, or nonprofit organizations. So as I mentioned also, even though if a person may or may not can get access in person, there are many ways to access it, such as doing sessions online within a counselor, therapist, X, Y, and Z. And most of the time, those getting that proper access that you need can be free or lower cost, maybe like $10 every session or $5, depending on what's going on, and also depending on who's your therapist and counselor. However they manage is all up to them, and they also listen to you too, because they're going off of what's going on with you, so they'll be able to help you get the proper care that you need, even if you do or do not have it, as well as your local community within peer support. Also, I know within most schools and universities and jobs, they do have support groups where they are willing to help you mentally, physically, financially. Also, like food banks, they have the food banks, back to school supplies, whatever the case may be. Whatever you need mentally, physically, they're willing to help you. As well as your local community centers, like if you have centers in your community or some type or person that runs a store or something like that, because most of the time people that runs boutiques or store, whatever, they're also willing to help and give back, help you mentally, have peer mediation groups. That's what I was in when I was in high school, peer mediation, to help you if you're going through something with your peers or just want to talk to a peer to get things out in the open. They're willing to offer you support, mental and physical support, as well as churches as well. Many churches, they do, have time where they, outside of the service, talk to you one-on-one or have group sessions to see what's going on. And your nonprofit communities and your nonprofit community organizations or nonprofit organizations, period. They are willing to sit and have conversations with you. They're willing to help you even if it's cost or no cost. But most of the time, when it comes to your local community centers, churches, and nonprofit organizations, and as well as school and work, they're willing to help you with no charge. So keep that in mind. If you are going through anything, don't hesitate to access and reach out to these people. Also reach out to me as well. Don't hesitate, because it's people out here that's willing to help you, and they're willing to help you put in the work. They're willing to help you, but you have to believe in yourself and also do it. Even though it may be hard, but you have to do it. So I'm gonna summarize everything, and then y'all know the drill. If you don't, stay tuned. So just in summary, mental health awareness is important because it helps individuals realize the impact of seeking help and support, and promotes a more compassionate and understanding society that is processing for mental health awareness. Mental health awareness helps to restore stigma and encourage people to feel more comfortable talking about their health issues and seeking help. It's also raise awareness about the range of mental health services available and encouraging people to take advantage of these services. Through mental health awareness, individuals are provided with the resources and support they need to manage their health issues. So I want y'all to leave out on that note. Keep that in mind. But also, like I mentioned 2 episodes ago, that I will be doing questions for you to think about after listening to me. So it's 2 questions impacting mental health. And I have 2 questions that I want y'all to ask yourself impacting y'all mental health. 1, how do you maintain your mental well-being in your daily life? And what strategies do you find most effective in managing stress or emotional challenges? 2, what do you think are the biggest misconceptions or stigma surrounding mental health? And how do you believe we can work together to address and overcome them? So I want y'all to think really hard on how can y'all help yourself when it comes to your mental health, and how can you help others when it comes to the strategies that you guys have when it comes to you guys' mental health. So, like I mentioned also, this mental health awareness month, check in on someone who seems happy all the time, never asks for help, come across as strong, recently lost a loved one, recently changed a job, just ended a relationship, goes quite often, is always keeping busy. Is there anything, and is there for everyone else? I want y'all to keep that in mind. Check on them people that's, always happy. Check on them people that's always there for you. Check on them people that you call on all the time when you going through your shit, but you don't call on them, but they don't call on you when they're going through anything. Just check on people in general. If you know them like the back of your hand, check on them. If they seem happy, check on them. They never ask you for help. They never want nothing in return. They always giving and they don't receiving. Check on them. They always come as strong, independent man or woman. Check on them. If they've recently just lost a loved one, mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, a child, husband, wife, whoever, check on them too. Check on them real good, because that can really mess up somebody's mental. Check on somebody that recently have changed something in their life, say school, a job, a career, whatever, even change their look. Check up on them, because that's another thing too. Looks is also impacted with your mental health. When they say girls change their red hair, they just gotta, when girls go redhead, they just got a relationship. Check on them. Check on them. And men too. Check on them. Just in the relationship that goes quiet often, when you're around them, they just go ghost, whatever. Check up on them. And it's always the ones that are busy, working, hustle hard, and they're hustling a little too much. Check on them. And lastly, check on them if they are always there for you. Check on these people. In honor of mental health awareness, it is so important to check on these people around us all of the time. But during this month, when people speak about mental health, sometimes people don't show the signs of struggle or anything. But like I mentioned, if you know these people like the back of your hand, please check on them. Or just check up on a random stranger. Or give someone a props. Just make these people feel valuable. Because you never know. One simple comment, whatever the case may be, can really impact somebody's life. Especially their mental health. Okay? So without further ado, thank you all for listening. I appreciate you all a lot. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you all are having an amazing day, and I hope you stay safe. Please, please, please maintain your mental health. And as always, peace and blessings to you all. I wish you nothing but the best. I love you all so very much. Thank you for all your support, likes, comments, all that good stuff. And as always, you guys will hear from me next Wednesday. Bye.